Hi, my name is Charlie, and you can also call me the guitar boy. Today we are going to be doing mathematics. I promised to do more example on cycle geometry in our last video. I said at least 10 examples, nothing less than 10 examples, and we have done 4. Remaining 6 examples. By the grace of God, on this video, we are going to do two examples, in this particular video. We learned so many theorems, and those theorems have been so helpful to us since we started solving examples. Now look at the question we have on the board. This particular question was a JAMB question 2004. So the question is, look at the figure here. Like if you come here now, look at where the S is. This is the angle they want you to look for. PSO. PSO, which means this angle. If they had told you to look for POS, this is the angle. POS, this because O will not be at the middle. This is the angle. If they told you to look for OPS, which means this is the angle, P will not be at the center. So today we are going to look for this angle, and trust me, we are going to use different theorems to solving this particular example. Now, how do we solve this example? Think about it. There is no way, if you check this particular example, there is nothing here, nothing here, nothing here, nothing here. So how can I solve it? I have to start from somewhere and make sure I gradually make it feasible for me to solve. Now, to calculate the first thing we'll do, calculate this angle. When we get this angle, we'll get this angle. This is a straight line, angle on a straight line. Here we use the first theorem we are going to use here is sum of the angle in a triangle, because this angle, this is a triangle. This is a triangle. So this angle plus this angle plus this angle is equal to 180 degrees. Remember the theory, so we will use that one to get this angle. From there, we use angle on the straight line. That's another theorem to get here. Once we get here, from here we get here. That is the angle subtended at the center is twice that. From another theory again, angle subtended at the center is twice that of that at any point of the circumference of the cycle. So once we get here, this place, we also use another theorem to get what we are looking for. Now, how do we get here? First thing we do, we say, look, this angle, let's say this angle is A. Let's call it A. Okay? If we call this angle A, we say A plus, I told you that you can always modify your figures. A plus 35 plus 20 equal to 180 degrees. What's the reason? Sum of the angle in a triangle. Sum of the angle in a triangle. Now, if you add this to this, it will now be A plus 35 plus this one will now be 55. 55 equal to 180. Then A will now be equal to 180 minus 55. 180 minus 55 will now be 125. A is equal to 125. 125 degrees. So we have been able to calculate A. This place now is now 125 degrees. Okay. The next one is we'll now calculate here. This angle, let's call it B. B is, if you check A and B, they are on a straight line. This straight line. So this, you now use another theorem here, angle on a straight line. So you now see A plus B is equal to 180 degrees. What's the reason? Angle on a straight line. So when you do that, you now have, you already calculated A. A is 125 plus B, which you are looking for, equal to 180 degrees. You know, you are just calculating all these things so that you can get this angle, so that this angle will become easy for you. So if you don't know all these ones, because they didn't give you anything here to calculate, you have to from here trace it before you now start calculating anything that will help you to get what you are looking for. So you come here, B is equal to 180 minus 125. 125. 180 minus 125 will now be 55, which is equal to what? 5 degree. Now, after getting that, don't forget, there is another theory, though I don't think I gave you this, but just note that in isosceles triangle, the base angles are equal. The base angle of isosceles triangle are equal. What's isosceles triangle? Isosceles triangle is a triangle that has two sides equal and two angles equal. Like this side and is these two sides of the angle. That is, if you draw a triangle in which two sides are equal and the remaining one side is different from the other side, you call it isosceles triangle. So in that case, their base angle, if this side and this side are equal, this is their base angles. So their base angles must be what? Equal. Their base angle will be equal according to the theory. So now if you check here, if you have a cycle like this and you draw a line from the center of the cycle like this particular one we have here, if you draw a line like this, just note that since you started it from the center, just know that this line is equal to this line. I told you, since you start it from the center, if you draw a line from the center to meet the circumference of the cycle, you draw another line from that center like this to meet the circumference of the cycle, and you join it like this, just know that these two lines are equal. Just know. And if these two lines are equal, it tells you that this angle is equal to this angle. That's isosceles triangle. So if you have something like this, what do you do? Now, if I calculate this angle now, I already know this angle because it will just be easy for me. How do I calculate this angle? You remember the theorem we did when we said that the angle at the center is twice that, and the angle subtended at the center is twice that any angle at the circumference of the cycle. So which means that if we call this angle C, let's say we call this angle C, it will now be what? C is equal to 2 times B. So C will now be what? C will now be 2 times B, because anything you have at the center is 2 times whatever you have at the circumference. This is the circumference of the cycle. So you now come here and say C is equal to, write the reason, angle subtended at the center. Angle subtended at the center. Okay, so it will now be C is equal to 2 times B. Here is we calculated B to be 55. 2 times 55, which is C, equal to 2 times 55 is what? 110 degree. So we calculated B and C now. So we now know C to be what? 110 degree. From here we cannot calculate what we are looking for, which is PSO. Calculate PSO, because whatever we have here is also the same thing as what we have here, isosceles triangle. So what we will now do here is to say, you know, some of the angle in a triangle is equal to 180. Some of the angle in a triangle is equal to 180. So if we call this place D, we call this place E. So you now see that C plus D plus E degree is equal to 180 degree. Is equal to 180 degree. That's some of the angle in a triangle. Okay, remember, note that angle D is equal to angle E, because base angle of isosceles triangle, I explained that before. So when you have something like this, then you write C. You already calculated C to be 110 degree plus D plus E equal to 180 degree. So D plus E equal to 180 degree minus 110 10 will now be equal to 70 degree. Okay, so since we calculated 70 degree as like when we remove, what we did now was that the sum of the angle, which is 180, we remove this one from it. The remaining one is now 70, because everything, this plus this is equal to 180. We now we remove this 110 degree from this 180 degree to give us this 70 degree, which means the remaining 70 degree after we remove C from the sum of the angle in a triangle will now be divided by 2. If we divide it by 2, it will give us 35 here, 35 here, because we know that base angle of isosceles triangle are equal. So therefore DE is equal to 75 is equal to 70 all over 2, which is equal to 35 degree. So that's the answer. Triangle. So this is the final answer to this particular question. So we are going to move straight to the next question. So this is another example on the board we are going to solve now. So this is also simple. Just try to remember the theorems we have talked about and try to apply them. When you apply the theorems we have talked about, you get the correct answer to the question. Now, what can we do from what we have on the board now? They ask us to calculate angle QMP. QMP. This is angle what? QMP. So it means this angle, which is this angle. So I don't want to call it QMP again. Let me call it A so that life will be easy for me. So you can modify it. I have always been saying that you can modify it. So what you do here is, you remember when we said angle on the same segment are equal. This is a segment. This is a chord. Remember the theorem when we said angle on the same segment. When you have a cycle like this is one segment, this is another segment. Angle on the same segment, when I told you, if you draw a line from here, you draw one from here, you draw another one from here, you draw one, they are the same. However you draw it, you draw this one from here, in as much they start from here and end here, they are what? The same. So this angle is the same thing as this angle is the same thing as this angle. Whether you draw it, whether the segment is from here, you draw it like this from it does. So in as much they are angle on the same segment, they are what? Equal. So with that, you can calculate this angle. Let's call this angle B for easy calculation. Let's say this angle is B. So let's call this angle C. Okay, you can always modify your figure. Now what do? If I calculate, I will not think, okay, the only way to calculate this thing they want me, this is where they want me to calculate. That's angle QMP, I mean. So for me to calculate it, I must have this. I already know this one. This one is simple. That is what? Angle on a semicircle. You remember when we said angle on a semicircle, that's another theory. Angle on a semicircle is 90 degree. So angle on the semicircle will give us here, and angle on the same segment will give us here. Once we get these two, we can always get this one by saying angle, the sum of the angle in the triangle, because everything here is triangle, which is equal to 180 degree. So from there we now say B is equal to B is equal to 42 degree. What's the reason? Angle on the same segment. So that's the reason. So we have calculated our B now. So then we say C is equal to 90 degree. So what's the reason? Angle on a semicircle. So we have calculated that. Then we cannot say A plus B plus C equal to 180 degree. What's the reason? Sum of the angle in a triangle. So you already know, you want to calculate A now. A is equal to B is, we calculated B to be 42 plus C, which is 90. Sorry, we have A plus 42 plus 90 equal to what? 180. So when you plus these two together, it will now be what? 132. A is equal to, that's A plus 132 equal to 180 degree. A is equal to 180 degree. That's A degree. So equal to 180 minus 132 degree, which is equal to 180 minus 132. That's what? 48 degree. 48 degree. So A is equal to 48 degree. This is the answer to the question. So we have solved the number 2 example. It's now remaining about 4 examples before we round off with psychogeometry. Okay. So if you are here in Edo State and you are looking for physical classes, Fruitful Ground Tutorial is the right place for you. Okay, we are at Sapele Road Bypass, Benin City, Edo State. We are close to Belisima Junction at Ohawan. So thank you. God bless you. This will be the end of this particular video. Bye.